Hi there, welcome back to English for Specific Purposes at the B2 Plus level. We are your hosts. I'm Mr. Daryl.
And I'm Miss Tatia. მოგესალმებით. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. მე თათია ვარ, ეს კი ტერილია. დღევანდელი გაკვეთილის თემა კი მომსახურება. Mr. Daryl, we are going to talk about service, as you know, but I think that before we move on to the lesson, we need to look at our agenda. What's on our agenda today?
We start with an introduction where we will discuss a few things related to this topic. From there, we'll move to the vocabulary section, which is needed for the reading comprehension task. And then we'll move to our favorite part, the grammar part. We'll wrap things up after that and give you some homework.
Very interesting. გაკვეთილს როგორც ყოველთვის მცირე შესწავლით დავიწყებთ, შემდეგ შევისწავლით ახალ სიტყვებს. ამის შემდეგ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს და ტექსტზე დაფუძნებულ სავარჯიშოებს გავაკეთებთ, ამას მოყვება გრამატიკა და გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები. საბოლოოდ შევაჯამებთ გაკვეთილს და დავასრულებთ საშინაო დავალებით. We can start, Mr. Daryl, I think, right?
Yeah.
So we said that our main topic is service. So when we provide service or companies provide service, they think about the customers, right? So you have to somehow drive customer satisfaction through your service, good and high quality service. So what do you think, how can companies drive customer satisfaction?
Well, companies can drive or improve customer satisfaction by paying attention to what they want, what makes the buying experience a happy one, so that they keep coming back.
Yeah, I would call it they need to, first of all, meet the expectations of their customers and even exceed the expectations of their customers. That's when customers are really happy and just get back to you after their, good experience.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, now let's move on and let's look at our words. I think that we have very interesting words on our list. So the first word we have is customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is a noun phrase, and in Georgian it means მომხმარებელთა კმაყოფილება. Customer satisfaction.
Customer satisfaction is the measure of how happy customers feel after they do business with your company.
Okay, customer satisfaction. A noun, and in Georgian it means მომხმარებელთა კმაყოფილება. We have a goal of total customer satisfaction. Okay, and what is the next word, Mr.
The next word is refund, and this is an amount of money that is given back to you, especially because you are not happy with a product or service that you bought or received.
So refund is a noun, and in Georgian it means დაბრუნებული თანხა, კომპენსაცია. And it can also be used as a verb, pulis ukან დაბრუნება, okay? So, and here we have a very good example. I took the radio back to the shop and asked for a refund. So maybe it had some fault. So the next word is hospitality. Hospitality is a noun, and in Georgian it means სტუმართ მოყვარეობა.
The act of being friendly and courteous to your customers. Also, the group of businesses which lists hotels, bars, restaurants that provide people with food, drink, and so on. This is also called hospitality business.
Hospitality is a noun, and in Georgian it means სტუმართ მოყვარეობა. The local people showed me great hospitality.
Mm-hmm. Our next noun is loyalty card. A loyalty card, that has different names, but loyalty card is one of the very common ones. This is a card that is given to a customer by a business, used by the business to reward the customer for buying goods and services and to record information about what they buy.
So loyalty card is a noun, and in Georgian it means ერთგულების პარადი. And here we have an example. A double room costs 79.99 euros per night, but less if you have a loyalty card. So the owners of the loyalty card are usually given discounts, right?
Mm-hmm. Our next word is a receipt. A receipt, it's a noun. Something such as a piece of paper or message proving that money, goods, or information has been received.
So receipt is a noun, and in Georgian it is kvitari, receipt. And here we have an example. Make sure you're giving a receipt for everything you buy. And I think that we have finished with the first set of vocabulary, and it's time for the exercise. We will see the sentences on the screen with gaps, and we have to fill the gaps with the right word from the from the options we have. Let's start. The first sentence, more retailers are switching to email, then there is a gap, instead of paper. And I think that the best match here would be receipts. And the sentence would sound this way. More retailers are switching to email receipt instead of paper.
Okay, excellent.
The next one for you, Mr. Terrell.
Here's the next one. She received something on the unused tickets. Now, if it's unused, she didn't use it, she wants her money back. Refund, that is the word. And yes, it turns out to be true. She received a refund on the unused tickets.
And you're right, Mr. Terrell. And let's move on. Supermarket, then there is a gap. Record the shopping habits of every customer. So let me think. I think that there should be loyalty card, and the sentence would sound this way. Supermarket loyalty card records the shopping habits of every customer.
Our next one, we offer high quality training for people working in something, leisure and tourism. Now, of course, of these two choices, it's got to be hospitality.
And you're right.
We offer high quality training for people working in hospitality, leisure and tourism.
Okay, and the final sentence, the car manufacturer receives constantly high customer satisfaction ratings. It means that they satisfy the customers and they meet the customers' expectations.
And they will be successful if they continue like this.
Yeah, you're right. And we have finished with the first set of vocabulary, and it's time for reading. But, Mr. Terry, I think that we need to learn some words in order to understand the text better.
Connected to the text, right?
Yes, and I think that we have to look at our first word, which is maitre d'. Maitre d' is a noun, and in Georgian it means restornis momsakhurebis khelmzvaneli. Maitre d'.
A maitre d' is a person in charge of a restaurant or of the people who bring you the food at your table in the restaurant.
And here we have an example. We found a table and the maitre d' assured us that we would be served quickly. And the next word we have is
staff turnover. Staff turnover. And this is, of course, the rate at which employees leave a company and are replaced by new employees.
Staff turnover is a noun phrase, and in Georgian it means personalis dineba. Staff turnover. And an example, faced with high staff turnover, many restaurants are reluctant to provide health benefits to hourly employees.
Our next word is undervalued, an adjective, undervalued. And this is, of course, if someone's undervalued, they feel that they're less able, less skillful, or less important than they really are.
Undervalued is an adjective, and in Georgian it can be translated as naklebat dapasebuli. And here we have an example. An employee who feels undervalued is more likely to lose their temper when something goes wrong. So I think that everybody should be valued and not undervalued when they work in a company.
Very true. Our next word is implausible. Implausible, an adjective. This is when something's difficult to believe or it's unlikely to be true.
Yeah, implausible is an adjective, and in Georgian it means aradamajerebeli, implausible. And a very good example here, the whole plot of the film is ridiculously implausible. So it's really hard to believe the things that happen in the film, right? Okay, and the next word we have is?
The next word is menial. Menial, and this is work that is boring, makes you feel tired, or is given low social value.
Menial is an adjective, and in Georgian it can be translated as uintereso, urimramo. And here we have an example. It's fairly menial work, such as washing dishes and cleaning floors. And I think that we have finished with the words. We are ready to read the text. But before we read the text, I think that we need to discuss some things. I would like to ask you, is the job in the service industry respected in your country, in Canada?
Well, it is quite popular. A lot of the industry in Canada is a service industry. A lot of businesses are about providing services, so it's one of the main industries. Is it quite popular? Just on that basis, I think it is. What about Georgia?
As for Georgia, I wouldn't say that they are not respected, but I don't think that they have high salary. Yes, students, when they study, they start working in the service industry, but later they all dream to become managers or the owners of businesses, and no one dreams of working in service. And I think that we are going to read a text and find out what is the situation in Britain, whether it is a valued or respected job or not. So most British people could name a successful chef, but would find it very difficult to name a successful maitre d' or waiter. Despite all our celebrity chefs and our love of food, most Brits still think of any restaurant job that involves dealing with customers as either temporary or the worst kind of job. In continental Europe, waiting is a respected profession. Many kids grow up in their parents' restaurants and see no shame in following in their footsteps. In Madrid, Paris, and Vienna, says restaurant manager Tom Slag, you see 60, 70-year-olds waiting, doing it with skill and knowledge. Slag himself has managed a Michelin-starred restaurant, started 2 of his own, and now manages a 4-star hotel. But 99 out of 100 people will look disappointed when they ask what I do in restaurants, and I tell them I work on the floor.
So people don't respect that job. This stigma starts at a young age. The British Hospitality Association says there is a deeply held antipathy towards the sector from too many parents, career advisors, and teachers. At school, the idea of hospitality as a profession is not even thought of, says George Hersey, general manager of a restaurant in London. You are told to get a degree and in the meantime get a job in a pub or restaurant. Of course, one reason we have the image in the UK of service as undervalued, low-paid menial work is mostly because it's true. The working conditions are pretty bad and money isn't great, Slag says. According to a 2019 study, staff turnover in hospitality is 30% a year, twice the UK average. With unsociable working hours, low pay, and lack of prospects, the top 3 reasons for quitting.
In the UK, something needs to change and fast. Brexit is here, and already the European staff the industry largely depends on are leaving the country. A report for the British Hospitality Association concluded that with free movement ending and no new immigration into the sector allowed, the industry will need to recruit an additional 62,000 UK workers each year. A goal it thinks is deeply implausible. You can sit around and complain, or you can be proactive, says Zuleika Fennell, the managing director of Corbyn and King, a restaurant group that is trying to change the sector. We have to capture kids' imaginations and keep staff. With school programs, a £30,000 starting salary for senior waiters and regular rewards for excellence for employees, Corbyn and King puts its money where its mouth is.
Handling too is optimistic, but believes we need to celebrate a British style of hospitality, where a young cuisine and an arrogant people who see serving as a poor person's job, he says. But at its best, British food is about personality rather than discipline. It's exciting, it can be spectacular, but it's relaxed. There's no looking down on people. Hilary Reinsberg, the editor-in-chief of a New York-based restaurant guide, says, service these days isn't about the formality of a meal, it's about paying attention to what diners actually want and making them feel welcome. When you get it right, it's like hosting a dinner party every night without cooking.
And I think that according to the text, something should be done to
improve the industry. It has a kind of bad reputation. Yeah, it has a bad reputation, and you've got to revamp it.
Yeah, I think it's necessary. I think that in Georgia and Canada, it's the kind of measure should also be taken to make this jobs and service more respected. Yeah. Okay, now it's time to practice. We will see the statements and we have to decide whether the statements are true or false. And the first statement. People in the UK generally think working as a waiter in a restaurant is low-paid menial work. Is it true or false, Mr. Terrell?
That's a good question. I think it's true.
And you're right. Because we read, of course, one reason we have the image in the UK of service as undervalued, low-paid menial work is mostly because it's true.
Here's one for you now. Career advisors and teachers often recommend hospitality as a profession.
I think that the statement is false because I remember we read this stigma starts at a young age. The British Hospitality Association says that there is a deeply held antipathy towards this sector from too many parents, careers advisors and teachers. So it means that they don't advise.
No.
Okay, and the next statement for you. The managing director of Corbin & King recommends better training, higher salaries, and regular rewards for excellence. Is this statement true or false, Mr. Jack?
It's one of the last things you mentioned, I think, and it is true.
And you're right, because I remember read, with social programs, a £30,000 starting salary for senior waiters and regular rewards for excellence for employees, Corbin & King puts its money where its mouth is.
And here's a last one for you. Hilary Reinsberg wants restaurants to be more formal.
I think that the statement is false because she says service these days is not about the formality of a meal, it's about paying attention to what diners actually want and make them feel welcome. When you get it right, it's like hosting a dinner party every night without cooking. And I think that we have finished with the text and it's time for grammar. Today we are going to talk about subjunctive. And what is subjunctive? Subjunctive is a verb form which expresses possible, unreal, imaginary, or desirable situation. We see it most often in conditionals and wishes. We also find it in sentences that start with it plus be plus an adjective. And here are several examples. It's important that you go as soon as possible, or it's essential that he see a doctor, or it's crucial that they leave the building, or it's best that you not be at the meeting. These sentences are very formal. Notice that the form of the subjunctive is almost always the same as the form of the infinitive, except for be.
I think we're quite lucky to be studying the subjunctive in English, because I know from French it's quite difficult in French and it's much easier in English. So we're luckier. The other place we can find a subjunctive is with verbs like recommend and suggest. Here are two examples to make that clearer. I suggest that you be there on time, and I recommend that he not drink so much again.
Okay, very useful information, and I think it's time to practice. We will see the sentences on the screen with gaps, and there are 4 options, and we have to choose the right option for the gaps. And the first sentence looks this way. It's imperative that he, and then there is a gap, before 1 o'clock. And options: A, arrive, B, had arrived, C, has arrived, and D, will arrive. And I think that the best option for this sentence would be A, arrive. So, and the sentence would sound this way. It's imperative that he arrive before 1 o'clock.
Oh, excellent. Here's our next one. She looked ill. I recommend that she, we need something here in this space, a doctor. We have 4 choices: had seen, might see, would have seen, and see. In the subjunctive, we would have to say D is the correct answer. She looked ill. I recommend that she see a doctor.
And you're right, Mr. Daryl. And the next one for me. I suggest that these questions, and there is a gap, discussed at the next meeting. And the options are A, B have been, C should have been, and D will be. So, as I remember the rules how to form subjunctive, I would choose A as the best option, and I would say the sentence this way: I suggest that these questions be discussed at the next meeting. And I think that we have finished with the lesson, Mr. Daryl, and it's time for homework. What is the homework for today?
Well, the homework is the following. We would like you to write a paragraph about the best service you have ever received at a restaurant or a hotel.
Oh, very interesting. And where can the homework be uploaded, Mr. Daryl?
It can be uploaded to the address you see on the screen right now, where you will also find a sample answer.
And now it's time to say goodbye to the audience and look forward to the next meeting. So stay with us and keep on learning.
Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.